All right. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Robert Hayes. I go by the artist name of Robb Hayes, which is all on my social medias, ROBB Hayes, Hayes music. Um, I 40 years old, been in LA for
Why
about
you gotta
seven
talk
years.
about? You gotta call me out on age.
You know, I think it used to be a bad thing to think to talk about being 40, but it took a younger person, 21-year-old to tell me like to accept my age because it really doesn't matter. So it really I'm really proud of being 40 and just moved from Lexington, Kentucky to Minnesota and then from Minnesota to here to California to do music. So I'm a hip hop artist, been doing that for a long time. Been chasing it for a long
So, what took you from Lexington to Minnesota?
time. So my dad lives in Minnesota and at the time in Lexington, like I had graduated and there was really nothing to do as far as like I was just kind of working and that transition from high school to college. And then you're kind of like, well, I like college, but I don't. And then you're trying to figure out what to do. So I decided to go ahead and move to Minnesota, which I felt like if I wasn't doing anything in Lexington, then I'd go ahead and try to figure out my life somewhere else. And I had just met my dad during graduation. So it was a good time for me to kill two birds with one stone, become a man and develop a relationship with my dad. So,
Yeah. So, what did you do out in Minnesota? Did you
uh,
go back to school?
I went back to school a couple of times. The first time I went back to school, it still wasn't right for me. I was too distracted, just chasing girls, being young at the time. But also, I was doing music, but just more so doing it on the just hobby side. And, sometimes when you do hobbies, you kind of realize, oh, wait, I'm really good at this. So I just kept on doing it and kept on doing it. So it was either just working being in a relationship with somebody or trying to do music at the same time. So that's
So,
pretty much it.
so you really didn't start to pursue it. So it wasn't out of high school. It was kind of like it sank into your hands after that.
So I did do some stuff in high school, but nobody kind of took it seriously, and I didn't even take it seriously. It was just something to do with my buddies. So it was like then when I moved up to Minnesota because I had kept doing it when I was in Kentucky, but nobody ever knew I did it. I just did it on my own. And so I was like, you know what? Once I get to Minnesota, I'm gonna like try to find somebody a little bit more on the professional side and kind of see where I can go to from there, try to see like what my talents are like. So that's kind of how that ended up.
Well, how did LA call out to you? Like so you transitioned from Lexington to
Yeah.
Minnesota with your dad. So how did you
Mhm.
transition to LA?
Um, so I was in a relationship in Minnesota. It ended, but before it ended, we had went out to California a couple of times to promote my music. And I had told myself, like, if the universe wants me to do this, then this relationship is going to have to end, but I'm not ending it. So somehow the universe was like,
Why
oh, what's that?
why would you have to end the relationship if you wanted to pursue your career?
Because I wasn't, because I knew if I wanted to get to the next level, at the time, I thought getting to the next level would be strictly going to California, going to LA. And so I knew that if I wanted to do that, I'd have to put all my focus in that. I couldn't be in a relationship. And I felt like if I was in one, I wouldn't fully put all my effort into that. And then we broke up, and she broke up with me, which is weird how that kind of worked. But needless to say, like I'm here now. So like once that happened,
Yeah.
I took a year off, and then I was like, I'm coming up here to do what I got to do.
Yeah. So how often, now that you're in LA, I mean, are you constantly writing? And I know you were in the studio over the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, so is music like an every single day? Like, are you constantly writing? You go through that bit.
Um, You know, as a creative, I want it to be every single day, but that's just not how life works.
Does it, right,
It it I'd want to have like this slot where I can just focus on writing lyrics and recording and everything. But then there's comes being an adult, and I gotta focus on making money and paying the bills. So like once I got here, I rented a room that was for like $500, and that allowed me the space to create and spend a lot more money on creating things. But then once I decided, okay, like my mental health is important. And so I need my own space. So once I got my own space, that's when life started to kick in. Because California is super expensive. It's not easy up here, which is why a lot of people come up here and then they turn around and go back somewhere else. And I wasn't going to be that way. I was going to be like, and not to knock anybody else, but I was like, I was going to fight this head on. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm gonna make it happen. Nothing's gonna stop me because if I do, I've got people looking at where what I'm doing. Maybe one day they want to come out here. Maybe I can inspire them some way. So, um, no, I wish I could write every day, but that's just not how it is. I mean, me being back in the studio, that I haven't been in the studio for probably about mm, 5 or 6 months, but before that. And it's just because I've been working and living life. And sometimes you got to live that life to kind of be inspired to write and create, you know?
right. So there's still like the struggle of living and pursuing this career at the same time, which is my
Yeah.
main there. I have like a couple of focuses of why I'm wanting to do this. And one of them, and I always bring my daughter up. She's interested. She's getting ready to go to the school her dad went to,
Yeah.
Lexington School for Recording Arts, and she wants to be an artist, and that's what
Yeah.
she's aspiring to. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, because I looked and
Mhm.
there's not a lot of like, I didn't see any podcasts where people are like talking about it.
Right.
And the other side of it is there's a lot that goes on behind the artist that people
Mhm.
don't see. So like I just had an interview with somebody about she's a hospitality manager for a theater. So that's my main concept, is for
Yeah.
her to see, what you're doing, and your
Mhm.
trials and tribulations and everything. So hopefully it'll help inspire her. So,
Yeah.
and that's, thank you for coming on and talking to me about it.
No
So,
problem. No problem.
but so let me see. Who, what, when, how long have you been out in LA?
For about
Close to LA?
7 years, about seven
7
years.
years.
Yeah.
So, what drug you out to LA other than, I mean, because you still have your other hot spots like
Yeah.
Atlanta. So, what pulled you to the LA part of it? Are you,
Um, it was like a multitude of things. So it was weather, finding a place to live, and just being somewhere different. I mean, I felt like if it was either going to be New York or California. And what I felt about New York was I wouldn't be able to find a place to live easier than I would have in California.
right,
And then with California, you got the beaches, you got it's almost 75, 80 every day. Yeah, it's expensive, but there's a lot that California has to offer. So that's kind of and there's a lot of the like hubs here. There's a lot of the labels here. And then their connections, everybody's out here. Well, a lot of people are out here trying to do the same thing. They got a dream, they got a journey. And so it that's what drew me in. Cause I mean, I could have thought about Atlanta, but like, if I went to Atlanta, to me, I might as well have stayed in Kentucky, maybe. Um,
yeah,
if I went to New York, it's like, yeah, but I gotta find some place, maybe live in like a studio apartment, take the subway, take this, blah blah blah, do all this stuff. But California, I can live in a suburb somewhere, and it's spaced out, and then I can get to LA in a jiff. So that's why I chose California.
Yeah, I'd love to be close to water and nice weather, but
It's
did
worth it.
did you get caught up in those wildfires at all?
No, but I had some friends who did, and they're okay. Thank God. But it was a crazy time. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a crazy time. The things that go on here in California is crazy,
So
unfortunately.
fires, stuff that bring on. So that'll lead me to like, what are some troubles that you think that you've like some walls that you've had or something that you feel may have like slowed anything down in your situation? Um, in
Um,
other words, yeah, what trials and tribulations can would somebody look at like this may happen?
well, comparison. Um, don't look at other people's journey and compare it to yours. Your journey is your journey.
I
You're
love
meant to
that.
be where you're going to be, and just work hard. And as long as you understand what you're doing it for and why, all the other stuff like doesn't need to matter. I know for me, some of my biggest supporters weren't family, it weren't friends, it was strangers. And look, as I got older, things started to come up. Like I said, like life. You're adult, you gotta pay your bills, you gotta focus on that first. And then you start to think like, you know what? I'm not making any money off of this. What am I doing? And you start to question yourself. But like I said, as long as you know what you're doing it for, that would cancel everything else out. And I mean, just also money as well. It's not easy to live up here, but especially this day and age, like, if somebody's doing something in Kentucky, like you can afford a nice place or whatever, and you have the social media and stuff like that to where you can create your own brand and do your own platform. But that goes into it as well. And I mean, that's really some of the biggest things that I've faced. Um, and I mean, internal struggles as well. I mean, as creatives, we want to be perfect. Um, we want to do the best we can because people are going to hear our product. And I know you say your daughter is getting into music and stuff like that. Look, she's going to be a perfectionist. She's going to want the greatest sounding things, and it's going to cost money. It's going to cost money. Um, but if she just keeps at it, and like I said, if she has the why as to why she's doing it, because maybe like, hey, like I love to make music because it helps me get out of bad moods, or I want to inspire people, I want to inspire the world, all that other stuff, like she will find a way. If like your purpose, you will find a way. And so that's like those are some of the pitfalls that I've had. But like I said, it took a young person to kind of tell me, to kind of breathe life into me. Because once I turned 40, like it was like a TV show. I started having flashbacks of life and things that were like man, like I haven't made it here yet. Like I got my 2 year degree. I should be teaching. I'm 40. Who wants to listen to a 40-year-old rapper? Knowing that it's a different day and age. It's not like back in 2003. It's 2025. And so the 21-year-old was like, bro, if you're good, I'll listen to you. I don't care how old you are. Why do you think like that? And so that made me be like, you know what? Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm back. Like, so those are some of the pitfalls she may, or anybody who else is a creative may, you know, face.
Yeah.
So
So how often are you in the studio then? You said it's been a few months. I've seen your videos, so I mean like that's not a small production. Those were I mean it didn't look like it. I mean like there is a lot of effort put into the like to your music videos.
yeah,
So you want to go into how much work goes in behind either product we can start in the, in the studio. Like how much time, effort, are they your beats? Do how does that
yeah.
work?
So first of all, it was all about networking. Like I told myself I wasn't going to like be quiet. I was gonna, because they say closed mouths don't get fed. So I was gonna talk to people and network with people. And it's funny because when I moved up here, I got on a dating app and I met a girl who was a dancer, and we didn't have anything romantically, but like we kind of had the same goals and values and stuff, and like dreams as far as like making it in the entertainment industry. And I was like, hey, I want to shoot this video for the song I'm doing called Brand New. And she was like, oh, I know some dancers. Like, send me over the song and I'll see if they like it. And send me a text back, like, oh, they like it. It was like 30 people. And they were just going to do it just to do it because they enjoyed the song. But at the same time, like, have material, like a reel or something like that for them to send out to other people. So when I don't know if you ever saw the music video called The Butter that I had. At that time I spent 3,000 on it. This video cost me about 4,000, maybe 4,500, but I paid for the director, I paid for all the people, the dancers that were there to eat, because I didn't necessarily have any money to pay them individually. So I did what I could with what I had, and they knew the struggle. So one of the biggest things about me being a creative personally is I want people to take me seriously. So if it's going to cost a little more to get great product out there to where you people can look at it and be like, "Oh wow, like you're really serious. Like this looks good." That's good enough for me. I don't want to be
Mhm.
taken as a joke. Um and so the money, I mean, it's a lot of money, but like I said, if you know what you're doing it for, that don't even matter. Like the product is the product, and I just want to make a good product. So um, that's kind of like behind the scenes in like me kind of getting started up here is connecting with other people and then meeting different producers and engineers and stuff like that and going to the studio a lot. Like for a song, like there's songs on my Spotify that I've probably only made like $5 off over the whole time I've had them, maybe for like 10 years maybe. And
Yeah.
in the studio, they probably cost 1,500 to make, you know? Like to make a song and to make it well, it costs a lot of money. To get it mixed well and all this stuff, like it costs a lot of money. Nowadays, with social media and everything, the fans really, if it sounds good, it sounds good. But I still want to have that mindset to be like, no, I want a good product out. I want the sound crisp. The video's out. I want the video clear. I want it to have a good direction. And I don't want it to be looking like no junk because, yeah, people may like what they like, but they're not dumb. Like the consumer, I want them to like my stuff. So there's a lot that goes behind it. Um, and sometimes if you have an artist, an indie artist that hasn't come out with anything for a while, it might be because like they're living life and they may not have the funds to like do that stuff yet. And
Yeah.
people want it so fast. So it
Yeah.
takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Well, I give you props because all of your videos are like they're
Thank you.
pretty good
Thank you.
videos. I
Thank
mean,
you. Thank you.
they're not some like YouTube, iPhone. They're
Yeah.
like legit. Yeah, they're legit produced music videos.
Thank
And
you.
I've watched them and I've been bumping your music the last few days. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank
I
you.
mean, and I've listened to it before, but
Yeah.
it's you promote yourself on social medias and that's when I see it. Um, yeah, and that's what stuck out is because you do produce good music.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, and that's what, because I was sitting there the other night and I was like, who can, I need to, I need to network. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so, and again, I appreciate you being on here, but yeah, I love your music, and I'm hoping this collaboration too might help a little bit. I don't know on your side, since this is all still new, but
No, I
um,
just like you doing this. I think is awesome. Like people, because I know it must be kind of nerve-wracking getting out there, starting, and then like, you might put a video up and then it may have 5 views, and because maybe people aren't watching, but if you just keep on keeping on, like I promise, like
Yeah.
you'll get somebody who's like, oh, you might get somebody who's super big, and then they'll come on your platform or whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's literally just consistency, and that's like the biggest issue of me is like trying to get that consistency down. You know,
Right.
so
So how much time do you spend in the studio? What's a day in the studio like for you? I know when you
um,
get the chance. Sorry.
it's like yesterday I was in the studio and it's weird because with me, like I'm a yapper. I yap a lot. Like I work, but I yap a lot. So like if there's people in there that are my friends and stuff like that, I'm gonna be yapping. So we probably spent 5 hours in the studio, 5 or 6, and got one song almost done. But a lot of that was just, yeah, man, like, oh man, have you been here before? Like just sitting there talking to each other and just but that's what I like. I like building relationships. Like
Right.
I can create, but at the same time, like I like building relationships, and it makes me want to go back to this person. And if I spend money and we do nothing, that money still went to something that I support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So typically it's probably about 5 hours in the studio.
Yeah. Well, I think relationships are huge in the
Yeah,
music industry and somewhat appearance of who you are,
yeah,
and that means a lot. But if you're a people person, I have like high anxiety. So do it this having this conversation with you right now, anxious as all get out. It's horrible. So, but having that personality, like being welcome like that,
yeah,
it must be good on that end of it, being able to make the friendships and the connections that you need.
yeah,
Having the right personality, being able to talk to people the right way, I feel like it's a big thing of it.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, it's
um,
it's awesome. Like you guys support like so people that I knew growing up, and that's why I made like back days because it's just a salute to like the people that I knew in my childhood and you know growing up on Buckhorn and going to the pool all the time and then the pool rats and then just like knowing a lot of people around there just really going to the palace or like walking on Man of War all the time. Like every time I go back, I have to go back and just drive through there. But it's huge to me. Like that is like a significant part of my life, no matter how old anybody gets. And just seeing you guys support and people in my DMs a lot. Hey Robert, like I love this song. This is great, bro. Like keep doing it. Like I remember you when you was this. Like that's awesome to me. Like I don't I'm not asking for people to support. They support if they want to. And like
yeah,
I appreciate it so much. And it's just like it brings me that much closer to like just understanding where I'm from. So when anybody talks about Kentucky or Lexington, like, I'm if I met this girl one time who was like, oh, I can't. There's nothing in Lexington for me. And then like she pissed me off because I knew there's really like not that much going on or anything in Lexington or wherever, but like it pissed me off because that like hits home. So it's just like,
that is home. Yeah.
you can't talk about it, but I can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
I do. I've been away from home 3 years now, and I'm only 3 hours away. I'm not across the states, and when I go back, I still drive by the house too, and
you're in
you know,
Nashville.
ex- yeah, we're an hour north of Nashville, so
Okay.
we can get to work. So yeah, but it just like my brother lives in Buckhorn, and he has for 14 years now, right
Yeah.
there by the gas station. And
Yeah.
it's just it breaks my heart that it's a skating. I mean, like, good for them,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, they don't know our Berry Hill. Like,
Right.
they don't know our.
Yep.
I miss it. And I didn't, you're 2 years older than me, I think.
Mhm.
So, but, yeah, gosh, I miss those days. And kids don't think about that either. Like, don't rush it, please. Like,
Yeah.
saturate yourself in the moment.
It's hard for them
Don't,
though because we were outside all the time. We had a
yeah,
lot of that interacting with each other. Like there were a lot of time we had to interact with each other where we didn't have cell phones. We just had to call each other's house. You know what I
or call
mean?
each other after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Like,
So like that stuff right there is like near and dear to my heart. Like I just think about it all the time. Like I'll go through Facebook and look at different people's pictures and see where they are in life and stuff like that and be like, oh man, I remember when so and so did this or so and so dated this person, like,
yep.
all those things. So yeah, I
And
don't know.
I don't think about stuff like that a lot because, I mean, like, being connected then is so different because
Yeah,
they're so disconnected now.
yeah,
Like, we wrote notes, and
yeah,
we put time and effort into stuff, not
yeah.
like Snapchat and text messages. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, now we're talking about childhood. Oh, I do. I miss home so much. I can't. Did not want to move down to Nashville, but it's not that bad where we're at.
But now you're doing this,
Um,
and like I promise you, like this is gonna take off. You're doing this, like you're about to flourish, and this is something you can be like, hey, yo, like, if anybody, you could like support anybody with music or whatever once your fan base starts building up and stuff like that. Like it's gonna be dope. Like you're gonna do amazing. I know you will.
I'm putting a lot into this. Like, I've got a lot of I'm nuts up here. So
Yeah,
this is like something that's drawing me in. Like, I'm spending time on doing stuff, but I want to, like I said, help other people understand
yeah,
that there is so much. It's not like I said, a friend with an iPhone camera recording you standing there rapping. It's,
yeah,
when you're out at when you're performing, like, there's so much more to just the people at the front door,
yeah,
like people sweeping up the trash at the end of the night. Like, there's so many people involved in it, and it's such a great big thing. But music is also so important to everyone. It's not a certain generation or anything. I don't know. But I'm happy. Like, I feel like this thing's gonna be. I feel like it'll be good, and maybe in a year we can come back and have another conversation and be
yeah,
like, "Look at you now." You know what I'm
yep,
saying?
yep. And think about it. You
So
could be the safe space because there's a lot of podcasts because I mean, I'm pretty sure you've done your research before you started this. Like, there's a lot of things that once you get to a certain level, you're just like, okay, wait, I'm like in the void of like now I can't go higher. So how do I get higher? Okay, let me start clickbait, and then things like that.
yeah,
So I think a lot of artists, I know for myself, like I love the genuine questions and things like that that make me want to think and bring me back and stuff like that. And
yeah.
as long as you do that, like you're gonna be fucking dope. Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
you're
It
welcome.
was this actually. It started out as something completely different, and then I've had friends tell me, they're like, "You're gonna put yourself in a box." Because at first it was gonna be like, it was old wives' tales, and it was going
Mhm.
to be all the girlfriends of the band members and stuff, like
Yeah,
us just get around and talk. But it's like you can only get so far with that.
yeah,
And then the meet the women, like, well, I'm still limiting myself to just females.
yeah,
So then I came up with Meet the Music, and so I can do this with you, but I can still do a Meet the Women and have
yeah,
a female podcaster. So, but yeah, and I try to be genuine. And the last interview I did, she's like, stop using your notes and just talk to me. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
because I was doing this the whole time,
yeah.
so, but
But you
yeah, I
learn.
mean,
You're
yeah,
learning.
it's definitely, I think this is
Yeah,
my fourth interview, fifth maybe. So yeah, there's a lot of learning, and
yeah.
now I have to get equipment and stuff. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this was gonna be like this. But I had to tell one person we're gonna have to redo your podcast because the audio, I can't fix the audio, and I hate that, but I don't want to put out bad product when I'm putting somebody else's name out there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna redo it. So, but yeah, I mean, do you have any other words of wisdom or anything? We can close out, and what would you say to yourself, well, your 17-year-old self? Gosh, 17
Um,
actually.
I would just tell my 17-year-old self to just do it, not be nervous. Um, yeah, you're gonna fail, and it's okay to fail. I mean, I've been so nervous a lot of the times about what people are going to think. And I think that that's a part of the recipe for success with a lot of artists is that they don't care what you think. And then they don't care what you think, but somebody cares about their product. So it's like, then they really strive and flourish. And so, um, you know, just do it. Forget the outside noise. Have your purpose, have your why, and understand you will meet some roadblocks, but like be ready to fight because that's what it's all about. Like the journey is the best part. Everybody wants the results, but they never want to go through with the journey. So whatever you do to your daughter or whatever, like just support, right? Because it's going to get hard. It's going to get hard
Yeah,
for her because people are going to say mean things. Even if it's the best song, people are going to say mean things. And they, that's just how people are. People are going to people, you know,
people are gonna people.
people are going to people, you know.
I feel
I,
that.
I appreciate you having me on. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, maybe we'll come back in a year and see some difference.
We will. I say it right now. It's 5:43 here in California, 7:43 there. In a year, I will have more fans, be at a different status, and you will too. And then I will be coming to visit you in a studio.
We got this.
Okay? And that's how it's going
Yes.
to happen. Okay?
Maybe we'll have a studio by then here.
You will. You will. Okay?
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And thank you
Yeah,
for
you
talking
too.
with me today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
All
it.
right. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.